It's a Friday, and of course, it's the leadership segment of the show for today as well. Let's take it.
Good morning. Welcome to the leadership segment on TVC Breakfast. I'm your regular host, Dr. Maxwell, Ubah. The last episode, I talked about what leadership is not. And I said that leadership is not having positions, or positions and titles do not confer leadership on people. Today, I want to continue on that thought by saying what leadership is not. And today, I'd like to tell you that leadership is not having power over people. And also, leadership is not just about having followers. Let's take the first segment, that leadership is not about having power over people. I know I drive on the streets of Lagos, and sometimes you get stopped by the FRC men, you get stopped by police, by LASMA, and you have to park the car. Now, they have power and authority over me doesn't necessarily mean that they are my leaders. So the fact that I obeyed them because they are representing the state, because I'm a good citizen, doesn't mean that they are leaders over me. So I need you to understand that when somebody has power over somebody, doesn't necessarily confer leadership on the person. And part of the reason why a lot of Africans want titles and position is because of the power it confers of them. Mugabe has been in Zimbabwe for God knows how long. Why doesn't Mugabe want to leave that throne? Because of the power that that throne confers on him. But that doesn't make Mugabe a great leader. That doesn't make the sit-tie syndrome associated with African leaders great leaders. They have positional authority, but they are not leaders. So leadership is not having power over people. Power can be divided into two components, formal power and informal power. Formal power has to do with your titles, with your position, with the hierarchy and your status. Informal power has to do with your person, the strength and the depth of your character. You find out that great leaders actually use a combination of the two, both formal and informal, but more of informal authority. They lead people from the strength of their person. Someone once said that we lead from the essence of who we are. The problem with a lot of people who rely more on formal power is simply because there's nothing in informal power for them to use to lead people. They can't influence people with their person, with their character, so they rely more on their power and formal power in order to lead people. They rely more on laws, on processes, on edicts, executive fiat in order to get people to comply. Guess what will happen? With formal power, what you have is compliance. So you pass a law today because you are my CEO, I will comply. You will not have commitment, you will not have engagement with formal power. Commitment and engagement flows from the strength of your person, from the informal power dimension. So for you to be a great leader, guess what? You need to rely less on formal power and more on informal power. So leadership is not having power over people. The other misconception of leadership is that leadership is about having followers. Yes, I believe that every great leader has followers, has supporters, but just having followers doesn't mean somebody is a leader. Think, for example, America has 360 million people. India has over 1.2 billion people. Does it mean the Prime Minister of India is a greater leader than the President of America because of the size of the people in their nations? Of course not. Nigeria has 160 million people. Ghana is just about 20 million people. Does it mean the president of Nigeria is a greater leader than that of Ghana because of the size of the crowd? Of course not. Football is played with 11 people on the pitch and basketball with 5 people on the pitch. Does it mean the coach of a football team is a greater leader than the coach of a basketball team? Of course not. So you can see how the thinking of leadership associated with followers is wrong. Just having followers doesn't make one a leader. Think about it. If you join an organization today, you'll be posted to a head, a departmental head, a leader, so to speak. And you have to show up every morning in the person's department, in the person's team. Does it make that person a leader over you? Of course not. Followership is two ways. Just like I talked about power in two dimensions, formal and informal. Followership is in two dimensions, voluntary and involuntary followership. Voluntary followership is the followership that I choose to follow. Involuntary means I have to follow because I have no choice. Today, for example, we have a new president from the opposition party. You have people in the other party, PDP, who will have to follow the president because they have to, whether they have a choice or not. So you can see that followership has two components, voluntary and involuntary. How do you know you're a great leader? It is when you have people who will follow you voluntarily and not involuntarily, who will follow you because they want to follow you, not because they have to follow you. If I have to combine power and followership, a great leader uses informal power and has voluntary followers. So today you know that leadership is not just about having power over people, and leadership is not just about having followers. You want to find out, are they voluntarily following you, and are you using informal power to lead them? When I come your way again, same station on Friday, I will teach you what leadership is. Stay tuned to TVC Breakfast.